Boss, think about whether you want to keep working here. Me? Okay. I don't. Apologies if the English isn't perfect, it's not my native tongue. Nearly 2 years ago I started work at company as their digital marketing person. After I started, it turned out that I was brought in to put out the fires left by my predecessor, the VP Marketing, who had a team of 4 plus himself, spent over $1 million in 1 year and brought in 5 deals, 2 of them for under $10,000. As you can well imagine, after a performance like that, I had lots of work to do, and very little to do it with. Aside from 1 or 2 paid tools, everything else was to be done using free tools only. I'm gonna do some bragging here. I beat the previous year's figures in all categories with 10% of the budget. When I started, I thought Bossman, founder/CEO, had a really good management style, saying things like, "Your successes are yours, your mistakes are mine, and the enemy of good is great." I don't expect perfection, I want you to make sure things work and get them done. In essence, I was allowed to run my own, one-man, department and outsourced freelancers, and as long as I was getting results, he left me alone. Since I was the only person on the marketing team, I also had to learn a large number of skills and platforms that weren't directly related to digital marketing. Not to say everything was perfect, but things were pretty good. One of the main things that weren't perfect was that Bossman had serious anger management issues. As I said before, he left me alone, but I saw him blow up at and fire other people for stupid shit. He lost it at me too once or twice, but he'd calm down after a couple hours and things would be back to normal. If it looks like an abusive relationship, that's because looking back, that's exactly what it was. As the year came to an end, I approached Boss and initiated a performance review. I ran him through everything I had done in the past year, and he was pretty surprised at how much I had done with so little. I asked him for a raise, pointing out that I was currently making 8,000/month in local currency, average is 4,500/month, when people with my, now augmented, skill set were making between 13,000/14,000/month. I asked him for 12,000. He said he'd get back to me, and never did. Every time I asked him about my raise, he had another excuse. After the last excuse, I began looking for something else. The other day we had a meeting, and it turns out that 2 months ago I made a mistake. It wasn't a critical mistake, and it was rectified within a few hours of discovering the mistake. No harm or damage was caused whatsoever to company, but Bossman flipping lost it. I mean slamming on tables, yelling for the whole office to hear, what have you. Then he said the magic words, "Pack your things up and go home. Think about whether you want to keep working here." So that's what I did, and 10 seconds later I said no, I don't. I started packing my shit up while he turned an even deeper shade of red and got even louder. I didn't answer him at all, just kept on packing up my things and saying goodbye to my colleagues. Turns out that being ignored really pushed his buttons, to the point where he started threatening to call security to have me removed, while I was actively removing myself and my things from the office. Here's the part where it gets beautiful. My country is very strict on employees' rights. Sorry, Americans, I feel your pain. His words and behavior are considered an improper dismissal. By law he's required to give me 30 days notice of dismissal, which he didn't. When he realized his mistake, he convened a pre-dismissal hearing, but it was already too late. He's opened himself up to a lawsuit, which I'm already talking with lawyers about, because by law he has to give me those 30 days notice even though he already fired me. For the next 30 days I'm eligible for all the benefits and social rights in my salary, but I can do jack shit for him and there's nothing he can do to me without making the incoming lawsuit 10 times worse. I've already got 4 interviews lined up for next week, paying almost double what Boss was paying me, and best of all, I'll be interviewing for other places on his dime. The cherry on top is that because I'm the only marketing person, without me, nothing happens in the marketing department for the next month, and if he doesn't hire someone on in time, I won't be around to answer any questions the new person might have.
Now to the comments. I beat the previous year's figures in all categories with 10% of the budget. This is the kind of thing that goes great in a cover letter. Good luck in your next job.
Unfortunately, this is also the kind of thing rewarded with good job, champ, rather than a raise.
A despicable person getting karmic recompense. He could have treated you fairly but didn't.
It's not karma if you hit yourself in the face on purpose. Karma got to relax on this one. Boss man did this to himself.
Karma gives you what you didn't see coming and pays you back with the intentions of your own heart. Yes, he did it to himself. He tried to cheat OP. It didn't work out as he planned. Remember, your consulting fee is triple your hourly rate.
Really? I was always told double.
You always quote at least triple and can be negotiated down to double as a nice % discount to make the person hiring you look good. He said he'd get back to me, that's just no, with built-in wait time. Ditto, I'll take care of you in response to a request that they can't meet right now.
Took me a while to learn, but my go-to response in this situation is, okay, I'll check back with you early next week if I don't hear from you by then.
If you plan on having a lawsuit, maybe remove this post and resubmit after the case closes.
He already mentioned he isn't from America, so he good/s.
The owner of a company I used to work for asked me once, after I had requested to leave early for a family emergency, which was more important to me, my job or my family. I replied without missing a beat that my family was more important than answering phones. Then I left to take care of what I had to take care of.
Bet that question sounded a lot less stupid in his head, lol.
This title reminds me of something my, now former, boss said last week. For context, I work at a minute wage retail job. Very low skill. You don't need a diploma or anything to do this job. Basically what happened, during a meeting, she said that everyone knew what they were getting into when they got hired. She was trying to rationalize how she treats everyone poorly, general workplace abuse. Then she paused and said, everyone who decides they don't like this job quit. Well, that's on them, because if they don't like the job they quit, then they can never work for the company again. When she said that, she said it very smug, like as if she was trying to make it seem like a gotcha moment. I made up my mind about quitting during this meeting. After she said that, without hesitation I said, well, if someone quits because they don't like the job, then what makes you think they're gonna want to work for the company again, anyway? She deadass had this surprised Pikachu face, then got super pissed that I pointed out that no one would want to return to a job they hate. Narcissistic people hate when you tell them the truth. I hope the courts take him to the cleaners when you go. He needs a nice, fat helping of karma and consequences for his shitty attitude.
I hope the courts take him to the cleaners when you go. It's probably 3 to 12 months of salary that the company will have to pay out for the dismissal and a fine.
Yanel, but I've taken a couple law courses. Depends. Bossman could be held personally responsible, and not the company. Depending on how strict the labor protection laws are, they might even extend it to other previously terminated employees, as well as the possibility of criminal repercussions on top of fines and reimbursement. Apologies if my English isn't perfect, it's not my native tongue. Goes on to write a perfect, error-free, account and doesn't mention where my country is once.
I've always wondered why people in these posts always just write my country. Same with the but bit that says 8,000 local currency, like people have never heard of anywhere else.
Or they don't want to disclose it. In my country, the specific job I do, there are only 2 people in the entire country that do this job. If you knew my country and my job, you could identify me. I did that once. Felt so dang good. Walked around saying my goodbyes to coworkers. Stopped by HR, found out when I had to return to sign exit paperwork and collect final paycheck. Walked out the door. Came back in 2 weeks. Went straight to HR, declined exit interview, signed paperwork, grabbed checks, and left. Boss tried to stop me on way out. Where the hell have you been? Didn't any of my now ex-coworkers or HR tell you? You blew up at me, refused to hear my side. I said I quit and left your office. Bye. With that I handed him my badge and walked out the door.
Should have just go for exit interview and complain everything to HR.
I was young, stupid, and just wanted out. Now my exit interview with my commanding officer when I left my final posting in the US Air Force, that was putting the fox in the henhouse. At my going away gathering, I was told the co called in the first sergeant and 30 minutes later the first shirt started calling folks into his office. Seems I was not the first person ducked over by the admin group, but I may have been the last.